TVC Communications.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move weigh in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubahu. Today on the program, at 2024 budget presentation, President Tinubu says security, poverty reduction, job creation, top on priorities. I'll be hanging out with Emeka Madunagu and Babajide Kolade Utitoju. If you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Civil society organizations, Bearing Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, has faulted critics of Independent National Electoral Commission on the conduct of the 2023 general election, stating that verdicts of the courts were parts of democracy. The organization stated that the move by some Nigerians to delegitimize institutions was a vile attack on democracy. Addressing journalists, chairman of the organization, Izenwagu, admitted that this year's polls were not perfect, but maintained that the positives outweigh the negatives. Today, we're still debating about the 2023 election. Now, I discovered that this is the situation. If it didn't go your way, the election wasn't free and fair. If it went your way, the election is okay. If it didn't go your way the other time, people will say the election was the worst we've ever had, as a setback to what we had in 2015. So depending on, and I discovered that the spirit of sportsmanship is actually dead in Nigeria.
No, some people have it, but most Nigerian politicians simply do not have that spirit of sportsmanship. We've spoken about someone who in the past congratulated the winner of an election and after some hours took it back because his supporters had piled pressure on him. Why did you congratulate him? Why did you do this? Goodluck Jonathan said that too. That after I congratulated President Buhari at that time, members of his party were saying, look, we had so many, we had a quantum of evidence of rigging and all that, that he should not have done that. Look, we were rigged out, this and that. What? Jonathan never took it back. It will have been a monumental mistake for him to take back what he had said. Because as far as he was concerned, he lost the election. We are not going to have a perfect election at this stage, except we want to deceive ourselves. And perfect election, in my view, is not even simply to conduct an election that a good number of people see as free and fair. Certain things happen in our elections that should not happen at all. Politicians sending talks to disrupt polling in places where they know that they do not stand a chance of winning. And the law says, oh, once voting is characterized by violence somewhere, the vote must be cancelled in such an area. I've always believed that, look, this is wrong because it gives ammunition to the aggressor. A situation in which you know you can't win, you do not stand a chance of winning an election somewhere, you send talks to go and chase people away, to fight people, to disrupt the balloting there. And they don't do it at the beginning of the exercise. They do it in the middle of the exercise. You know, so that you do not easily regroup and come back to do fresh polling. So when ballots get cancelled as a result of thugs invading a polling center, you have strengthened the aggressor. And politicians keep using this. I know in some states, in the Northwest and even in the Southeast, there were places where people in Ebonyi, look at the visuals that Ivy brought, where beavers machines were gathered and burnt because some people desperately wanted to win. So we need to remove that violent part from our election. We need to remove it. Because when you chase people away and you make sure that voting did not take place somewhere where you knew you couldn't win, you have kind of compromised the process. So that is one part of our electoral law, one portion of our electoral law that I believe we need to take a second look at, because it gives ammunition to the aggressor. So people now know that, look, to stand a good chance of winning, stop your opponent from having peaceful voting in areas where they are strong. That is one. We have seen clearly that when you look at the way the elections went, the presidential election was much more free and fair than the governorship election. The level of violence that I saw in the presidential election, we didn't see in the presidential election. Maybe in the governorship election. The level of violence we saw in the governorship election, we didn't see in the presidential election. And that was why some of the outcomes were like that. A situation in which the ruling party lost 12 states. You can imagine. Lost 12 states, and these 12 states they lost were some of the biggest in our country. Ordinarily, if it was in the past, they would simply sit down and write those figures. But election took place, and the ruling party was well beaten in many places. Look at Kaduna, for example. Many people could not have believed that that would happen, you know. But by the time of the governorship election, again, the violent side of our politicians came in. If you check, you know, to check the record, the rate at which ballots were cancelled in the governorship election as a result of violence was way higher than the presidential election. People just going to disrupt voting, because some people felt, I must not lose this election. I must retain my state. Those who blame INEC for virtually everything, I quarrel with them because they simply think that INEC can perform miracles. The Nigerian politician, the selfish nature of the politician, the devious nature of the politician has to be addressed. Because they are the same people who compromise INEC staff to do their bidding. So the politicians must see winning an election as not a do or die affair. Once he sees it as such, the level at which he commits money to compromising electoral officers will go down. The level at which he mobilizes thugs to go and disrupt voting where he knows he stands no chance of winning will go down. It is a collective thing. I do not see any reason why the blame should simply go to INEC alone. These politicians, they need a sort of character transplant if we are to really, really sanitize our election. It's all in their hands, in my view.
Emeka, why do we act as if we are going for war if we are planning for election?
Yeah, because
we see it. Because some people, you know, during the last United States election, it was like, you know, debate of ideas and everything. Although it turned
there were still some issues,
along the line. But the way we prepare for election in Nigeria and the way we see things,
it's very simple. Corruption is the biggest industry in Nigeria. is the most lucrative business in Nigeria. It trumps every other business. So when politicians go into election, they don't have their eyes on service, going to serve. They have their eyes on going to lay their hands on the treasury, on going to dominate the entire space and to make sure that their opponents don't have a breathing space. So that's why they deploy all manner of things to make sure that they win. And this doesn't speak well of our democracy. Having lasted for 24 years, I think there are certain things we should be able to take for granted today. Generally, if you look at it, even the local government elections are even nothing to write home about.
No,
they are disastrous.
Those ones are not elections.
Those ones are not elections. Now, then come to, I think INEC itself has admitted its deficiencies, that it is not a perfect institution, that is still some distance from getting to at least an average point where it can also give itself a pass mark confidently.
Like you follow up now,
yes.
This thing has eaten so deep to the extent that even Nigerian Bar Association, they still contend their elections. It's like a Nigerian thing.
When corruption has eaten into every fabric of nature, what do you expect?
Not even INEC now.
People's eyes are on the till. How many have their eyes on service that, listen, during my tenure, there will certain things will not be a part of it. That integrity and honesty will be our, my watchwords. How many people have their eyes on that? So you even find out there is this trending joke on, I think on WhatsApp about somebody who said he trained his child, for election in maybe he's in the primary school or something, and he trained his child how to speak and all of that. But eventually the child lost. Why? Because the opponent shared snacks and soft drinks. So you can imagine even to children, it has gone to that level.
Vote buying like that.
So you can imagine children, and such a school won't be a public school where you say it's children of the poor.
I know that. I saw that video.
It's children of the rich. And you now find out, is it that they can't afford snacks? Is it that they don't have refrigerators
Just needed to compromise the children.
So now I just wonder, I felt, why, how could this have
when we were
happened?
growing up, were they subjecting prefectship and all that to voting? I don't know what has
they were even begging in some schools. They would beg people to become prefects.
Yeah.
You have to. In fact, the school will have to compel some people to become prefects. But
know how it started? When I asked this question, because this generation is a self-entitled one. You see the same, and it is some parents are to blame for the way children now think.
Yeah.
Some parents will say, according to a man that I spoke to, some parents will say, how did they decide on the senior prefect? Is my own son not good enough? So because these are paying parents, the school now felt, okay, since they want this thing to be done in form of election. Let us now
democratize it.
Yes. So you now see children, secondary school children printing posters.
Yes, I printed poster for my daughter.
Now see them printing posters.
Yes,
absolute rubbish. At this level, what are you talking
So how do you expect these children to
print? Parents, look, Fashola was senior prefect. Fashola, the former was senior prefect of his school. Those teachers spotted the qualities in him.
Yeah.
Did he not show those qualities in later life?
Yes.
Or is it later life?
They don't even
Did
fail
he not
again.
show? They
don't repeat class again?
No.
These days, Faleke at Abdulaziz Atta Memorial College was a house prefect of Oimege House back then. They spotted the quality. He joined the school midway. He didn't start at the school. But within 1 year, they spotted his qualities, his talents. They made him a prefect.
Until today.
Those qualities are still there. You can't take it. You may hate him. You may not want anything good to come his way. But those qualities are there. You can't take them away. Even where he served during his youth service days, he led the what's it called? This when they are doing personal parade. He led them.
March past, yes?
Yes. And he was candidate for the national, this award that they give.
Yes, President's Award. Yes.
Qualities that some people spotted
Early.
while he was a little boy. Up to national level now, we are seeing it. If you have it, you have it. Parents bribing other students on their behalf.
With snacks and
With
drinks.
snacks and other things, where the little boy with the gift of the gab cannot win an election because he was outspent. That is what they will grow up with. They will grow up with it.
That is it.
You know? But at the end of the day, the one whose parents had money to print posters, to share snacks and the rest, may not necessarily have leadership qualities.
That is it.
But be popular. Be popular with them because it can.
So if the leadership, if you have the leadership
Inducement.
qualities, your teachers will spot it. That's why I gave the example of Fashola, for example. There are many people like that who are senior prefects who are doing very well as leaders today. So we just have to reorientate ourselves. INEC cannot do it alone. The politician has to change his ways. The politician who puts a gun to INEC's returning officer's neck, that he should announce him as winner of an election. How do you describe that person?
Cultist.
And the man reluctantly, he had to do it
For his life now.
because of his life.
If uncle.
Do you know even the money these people, I have been involved in community development, that we opened a road, 2-kilometer road, with communal effort. Not the day we thought, okay, let's just raise some money, and we invited a local government chairman. He switched off his phone, he didn't even turn up. So that's to tell you that there are ways, as a non-governmental individual institution, you can effect change. You don't have to be in power for you to, effect any change.
Okay, moving on now. The Nigerian Customs Service, Tinkan Island Command, has handed over a 54,330,000 bribe offered the command by importers of tramadol tablets to Lagos Zonal Commander of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, that's Michael Wickers. The Customs Area Controller in charge of the command, Dera Nadi, while handing over the money, reiterated the zero tolerance for corruption stance of the Controller General of the Customs, Adewale Adeniyi. He explained that imported tramadol tablets were falsely declared as electrical appliances valued at over 856 million naira, while the bribe was offered to the compromised officers. Judy?
We have to give credit to those custom officers that they sought to compromise with $54,330,000. That's a lot of money into this Nigeria.
That's 54 million. Over 54 million. Over.
You know? So if they are taking the money, perhaps these guys will have had their way. We are doing everything to stop illicit drugs flowing into our country. But it's still Nigerians who are trying to circumvent the system, doing their best to bring these things in. And these are drugs capable of destroying the lives of our people. The Indians, for example, have even way above the usual grammage for the drug. What they are sending to Nigeria, they've increased it so that with one tablet, you know that you are good to go. You can imagine 200. It's supposed to be 50. In those days, before it became illegal, the tramadol that you can readily lay your hands on is just the 50 whatever. Now they are making 200 and shipping them, containerizing tramadol into our country because they know the drug addicts, the Boko Harams of this world, porters who are ready to carry a load as big as this house. All those boys in
The market.
the markets, these are the things that they consume.
Even factory workers.
Their eyes will be wide open till daybreak.
Factory workers.
Yes, you know, it gives them energy, but it's going to ultimately destroy their kidney and other.
The morale will be high.
The strength, you see the strength to stay awake. Some take it just to go and sleep with a woman. They believe that it gives them staying power.
Aphrodisiac.
You know? No, it's not. It's not really an aphrodisiac. It's the staying power.
Same power.
Because aphrodisiac is meant to
Just for a period.
help you achieve turgidity, you know, and all that. But
period,
this one, just for some time, this one is that staying power. So if you are lasting just, you know, these days, these women are trying to scandalize men by calling some people two minutes men and all that.
Your husband.
Some people, when they take it, you know, if they were 2 minutes men before, they can transform into 10 minutes, 15 minutes men. So,
Or 2 hours.
2 hours, that one will die now.
That one will die.
You minister to someone for 2 hours. You'll be dead to fine, so, and you'll be arrested. So this is why we must do everything to stop tramadol coming to our country. Even tramadol that they are in trailer load, they were sending it to Sambisa. It was intercepted by vigilant NDLA men. Somehow they still find a way to bring this into the country. NAFDAC is doing its best, but the best I can say is not good enough because this thing still comes into our country, and this
And
is
the consumption
evidence.
rate is higher now.
When you mark it as electronics or something, if we don't do the due diligence or 100% inspection, as they say, you will never know that it's actually tramadol that is there now. Or the way they will have packed it to look like something else. So now, once these ones were found out, the suspects quickly offered a bribe of $54,330,000. That's a lot of money. So in these difficult times, to reject that kind of money, they deserve kudos. And kudos to the CG of Customs.
Yeah.
For the reform that
Vigilant
is taking place there, and of course the area controller.
All right.
Any good news from them these days?
All right. We'll take this break. We'll be right back after this breather.
Now maybe this. Me see trouble. So today, I said I should treat myself as salary just enter. I ordered my food and was looking forward to demolishing all the orishi.
Pay before serving. Are they run?
Oh yeah, time to pay rich now.
Food where you never pay for.
Now here my card begin acting. Hey.
You know what?
You know what? Okay. After debiting me, it's like this one wants to find my trouble. See premium dragging. Oh, because this card did not work.
Save yourself the embarrassment. Get a card that works with MoneyPoint's personal banking. Download the app, request for a card and have it delivered to you in 48 hours. Experience banking on point because your money no go hang.
You're heading home from work. In the busy traffic, your car breaks down. Car horns blast. Your car is pushed aside. You call for help. Phone battery blinks and dies. You take a cab. Few miles, tire bursts. What a day. Frustrated, sweating, and tired. Nearing home, darkness envelops the street. Wow! Just one house is bubbling with life. Brilliant lights, loud music, smiling wife, all welcome you.
We alone have light?
Yes, it's JRB Solar Energy Systems, my anniversary present to us.
No matter how dark life is, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar street lights and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. JRB, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do.
Sales, sales, sales! Embrace the holiday spirit with a shopping extravaganza at the TVC Women's Network First Sales Fair. Join us for an amazing opportunity to explore a wide array of products and services at festive discounts. Discover irresistible offers. Mark your calendar, December 15th to 17th, 2023. Venue, TVC Communications, 1 Continental Drive off CMD Road, Ikosiketu, Lagos. Time, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Immerse yourself in the festive vibe with a shopping spree featuring exciting games, stunning showcases, and live performances. Wrap up your shopping list with unmissable savings. For inquiries, call 0803-284-8509. Join us for an unforgettable holiday shopping adventure. This event is brought to you by TVC Communications.
Thank you for staying with us. Emeka, now this custom guys, it's really impressive.
Very, 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 very. It's commendable, really. Because people in customs, they face, in fact, federal government agencies that are exposed to these, to certain areas, they face a lot of temptation. Yes. You know, and threats, and death threats too, because some people can be so desperate that if they reject the bribe, they can actually
take them out,
try to hurt them. So government has to give them, has to encourage them, continue to encourage them, give them necessary backing, and make sure that it fights this substance abuse, importation. You know, taking the battle to the sources, to those source countries, those supplier nations. There should be diplomatic pressure on those nations to stop selling these things, because it cannot just be, it's not possible for random people to be exporting all these substances to Nigeria without maybe some form of collaboration, you know, from the home government.
The market is getting wider.
Yeah, that is, yeah, because, you know, the economy is depressed. And a lot of people just feel that they need certain things to set them in a right frame of mind, so, you know, so to speak. So you find out that, you know, people want to take, for instance, factory workers want to take it so that they can, factory workers on target. You see factory workers on target. So they want to take it so that they'll be strong enough to work so hard and so quickly to achieve target, because they have bills to pay. But I think effort should be made to get people to know, to realize the dangers, that this is damage their kidneys, their liver, and other vital organs.
All right. Okay. President Bola Tinubu has presented the 2024 budget estimates of 27.5 trillion naira to the National Assembly. The budget, which is called Budget of Renewed Hope, the president said will ensure microeconomic stability, poverty reduction, greater access to social security, among others. He highlighted priority areas such as security, local job creation, macroeconomic stability, investment, environment optimization, human capital development, poverty reduction, and social security. Today, this is the first budget that President Bola Tinubu will be presenting for the year.
Yeah, and the budget is very ambitious in some ways. I just hope that the usual problem of implementation and funding will not get in the way. A situation in which funds don't get released for critical projects to the ministries to undertake critical projects compromises the effective implementation of the budget, and this is a Nigerian problem. I just hope that things will change. And the president and his handlers have moderated the inflation rate at 21.4%. Again, this is the rate at given the way things are going, I expect this to be overshot in the coming months. So 21.4%. Then the oil benchmark, the production, yes, they expect that they will be able to do 1.78
BPD. Yeah.
We are doing well now. I think they've been able to block some loopholes. There is increased production. We have returned to the summit of African oil production. We are now back to number one. We've overtaken Angola again, Angola and Libya. The point Libya was even ahead of us, despite being a war-torn country. We are back as number one. So I expect that improvement will continue.
Yes.
So I'm even talking about oil production because from the oil production, we should be able to make more money, more foreign exchange and all that. Our quota is 2.2 million barrels a day. That's our OPEC quota. We've not been able to meet it. So we've done well to even get to 1.7 million barrels per day. If they continue to wage war against the oil thieves, they continue to block those loopholes through which these guys are stealing from all of us. Hopefully, and we stop the rate at which oil majors are leaving our country, because every time they leave, it creates problems for us by way of meeting our production quota. So if we can create an enabling environment that will make these oil corporations to feel like remaining here and continuing the work, hopefully we'll continue to make progress. And they've also pegged the exchange rate at 750 to a dollar. In the last few months, even that has not been consistent, even at the I&E window. There were days when it even went as far as 900. So if it's, we just need we just need to do something about that supply so that the illiquidity will ease. Hopefully we can even do better than this if the illiquidity eases up. Government needs to address the supply issue.
Emeka, 27.5 trillion naira for 2024 budget.
Well, I think it's really ambitious. The area of GDP growth, I think, is ambitiously hedging against
3.7
against global forecasts. I think that's really ambitious. I'm still scratching my head on wondering how they will achieve that, because the global economic outlook right now, is not such that we can expect that. But well, let's see how it goes. I'm particularly interested in the focal areas: defense, security. Then, on tackling inflation, where the president said they work with subnationals, that is the states, to tackle inflation. It's very important because the states and the local governments are the places where economic activity really take place. How much does the federal government really control? Beyond Abuja. Abuja is the only place where the federal government controls, apart from maybe ports, airports, and federal roads and some places. But the real economic activities take place in the states and the local governments. But what kind of budgeting do the states engage in? The states don't allow the local governments to have access to their allocations. So why won't inflation be high, 22.70%? And then you have food inflation, which is above 3%. So what it means is that government has to quickly move on security, dealing with insecurity, getting these impediments, these bandits and all that do not allow farmers to have access to their farms. They must clear them away. Then I'm also interested in the infrastructure, talking about having an eye on infrastructure, because the roads are bad. So even this is harvest time. prices of many things like rice and the rest of maize and should have gone down. But one problem is roads. There are no roads. The federal roads are bad.
3 days, 4 days, they're on the road.
Federal roads, bridges, 4 days, sometimes a week, 2 weeks, because there's one road, is cut into two. Look at Onitsha Road. In 2 places, the road is cut into 2. The road cut into 2. But government has been able to restore 1 lane. Then look at the Benin bypass. Horrible. Sometimes travelers spend hours. In fact, they sleep there, Benin bypass. So these are critical areas where government has to address. And then the issue of power. Because a lot of people, you find a lot of people traveling long distances from Ogun State, from even Oyo State to Lagos, because they're regular power supply. But the thing is that if government can kill that monster in the power sector, you see people will migrate to other areas of economic activity and as such contribute to the economy. Then I'm also looking at this issue of oil. When will we go beyond, when will we develop the economy beyond oil? Beyond oil. Because if you look at globally, the nation, seriously, they are looking beyond oil. They are looking at innovation. They are looking at ICT. They are looking at health, well-being. Now, technology, heavily. Now, I'm interested in what the president said about that there will be a focus on children. I don't know. Maybe the Minister of Finance will give more details about that, because I thought we should look very closely at the youth population. Then our soft power in entertainment, in ICT. Those are key areas where we can make so much money. And then we have to build SMEs. We must grow SMEs. There must be more of them. Because you know what? When you keep looking for foreign investors, it's good. But you know the interesting thing? They always want to repatriate their money. But SMEs keep the money here. Keep their money, keep their profits here. So we must attain a balance in all this ambitious...
We need them to bring the money here.
Yeah, when they bring the money...
If MTN had not come here, for example, look at the gap that MTN has.
The
employment, even training of our
I agree,
people,
but also locally, we can build capacity too going into the future. Yes, it's good to look for foreign investors. Very good. Like what is going on now in terms of recapitalization of banks. Because of that announcement, the CBN's announcement, you see there's interest. Understand there's interest in the stocks of certain banks, which is very good. I hope they can carry that out, and I hope they can carry that out successfully. But, then the issue of jobs too. Jobs, you need SMEs. You need SMEs to create jobs. You need SMEs.
And there were some promises that the government made some months back.
Yeah, that they'll create 1 million jobs in the ICT sector.
That they are going to provide capital for a lot of these nano businesses, micro and nano businesses and the rest. We need to see a lot of movement along that line, because those are the things that will really rejuvenate the economy. Just as you said, the economy, the bulk of the work is actually in those rural areas. Yeah. When you talk about the GDP of our country, agriculture contributes the greatest.
But services overtook agriculture. Huh? In the last MBS outlook, services overtook agriculture. So that tells you that there is a kind of a paradigm shift in the economy.
Could it also be because of some of the problems?
So the problem, yes, in the agricultural sector. And oil is even way down the ladder.
All right, joining us from our Abuja studios to throw more lights on the budget is an economist and CEO, Diary Hills Limited, Kelvin Emmanuel. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for having me.
How would you describe the proposed 2024 27.5 trillion naira budget?
Well, I like numbers, and the reason I like numbers is because numbers always tell the story. If you look at the budget, you'll see that the debt servicing for 2024 is actually 8.2 trillion naira, and the debt service to the capital expenditure ratio is 94.8%. The debt service to GDP is 30.88%, which is lower than the 6.1% you had for 2023. The Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2007 specifies clearly that debt service to GDP should not exceed 30%. So maybe they are making progress in that. But if you look at the debt service to the budget, you see that it's about, to revenue, sorry, it's 45%. And then the debt service to the total budget size of 27.5 trillion is about 30%, which is 2.5% lower than you had it for 2023. The question is that how is it that Nigeria moved from 6.5 trillion naira in debt service in 2023 to 8.2 trillion naira in debt service in 2024? The answer is revaluation losses on foreign exchange. So the question you have to ask the president is, what is his plan to move away gradually from raising the revenue to GDP ratio, both for tax and non-tax, as a way to reduce the debt service to total budget, the debt service to GDP ratio, and stabilize the economy, because they're planning to borrow 7.8 trillion naira in 2024. How are you going to raise 7.8 trillion naira in this kind of climate where 10-year government bond is hovering between 16 and 17%, and expect it to continue? Because as inflation continues up, inflation headline is currently 27.3%, food inflation is 31.1%. As inflation continues up, the central bank has said they are going to focus on inflation targeting. They are going to continue to revise the MPR to match up with inflation. And if you revise the MPR, most likely the risk-free rate for 10-year government bonds are going to go up. And that's the rate at which you're going to borrow money from the debt capital market, the Eurobonds market, even if I expect that in the first quarter of 2024, the ratings agencies are going to revise Nigeria's credit rating one step up. Now, as per the target for daily output for production of crude oil at 1.78 million barrels per day, it's a tad bit optimistic, considering that Nigeria is hovering between 1.47 and 1.5 million barrels per day. If the government can do coordination, integration between all the security agencies, and adopt a pressure sensor for the pipes from flow station to terminals that can detect drop in temperature, drop in pressure at the pipes for hot pressure tapping, it will be able to mobilize security agencies to deploy immediately to forestall crude oil theft and vandalism of pipelines and reduce the incidence of oil spills you have and theft you have. Also, the GDP projection for the president of 3.76%. In my calculation, I expect that Nigeria's GDP growth rate in 2024 is not going to exceed 3.5%. So I think that projection for 3.76% is a tad bit optimistic, But going forward, you want to reduce the debt servicing in the budget and refinancing costs so that you can give more money to defense, to education, to healthcare, and to other very critical sectors of the economy.
Well, what really can we do at this stage with the value of our currency, because it's actually impacting negatively in many areas. As you can see, what we are going to spend on debt service has gone up significantly, largely due to the devaluation of our currency. What can we do? Are you happy with the projection that stands at 750 naira to $1, or do you see it going down?
Well, to be honest with you, the projection of 750 is for the NAFEM rate or the I&E window. It's not the real rate. The real rate is today 1,150, 1,160. The black market premium is very high. I think it's important for the government to, beyond doing deals like the financialization of NLNG dividends and the financialization or doing crude oil forwards, the proposed crude oil forwards with Afro-Exim Bank, beyond borrowing money on future revenues to stabilize the net reserves you have at the central bank, you need to be able to do backward integration. And a key focus of that is taking away the demand for FX from what constitutes petroleum products, PMS, diesel, Jet A1, base oil for lubricants, and all that demand that comes from refining crude oil. Nigeria needs to be able to refine its own crude oil. That is very key and important because that alone will take about $1.2 to $1.5 billion monthly from the foreign exchange market. If you can take that pressure away from the market, you're going to begin to see that black market premium begin to reduce and the rates will begin to subside back to anywhere between 850 and 900, which is very critical. And the reason it's critical is not just because of the government. The 750 they set as a target is the rate at which the government is going to be getting FAC revenues for dollar inflows. Yeah. The stabilizing of the exchange rate is also very critical for the private sector because right now, with the uncertainty around the exchange rate and the fact that we're going into a new financial year, companies are unable to plan their budget, especially for capital remittances, dividend remittances, capital imports, capital equipment imports, raw material input imports. They're unable to plan because they don't know where the exchange rate is going to be. And that has a factor because when they're unable to plan, they place like a premium on the rates, right? And it impacts on inflation because when they bring in these products, capital equipment, and especially raw material inputs, it affects the price at which they deliver to customers around Nigeria. That fluctuation. So for you to stabilize the exchange rate, you need to focus on backward integration for petroleum products. You need to increase your output for crude oil. You need to ensure that you devise a foreign exchange mechanism that decentralizes the distribution of foreign exchange. So they need to go back to the Senate to amend the Foreign Exchange Act to ensure that the banks are no longer going to be primary dealers alone for foreign exchange transactions.
Let me ask you this question. It's still related to the exchange rate. The CBN has not been supplying the foreign exchange market, the I&E window, as it should, because there are commitments that it wants to kind of sort out. By the time we're able to clear those backlogs and the liquidity improves and the CBN is able to supply the foreign exchange market sufficiently or considerably, do you see the Naira significantly appreciating value relative to other international currencies?
Well, the CBN has actually started clearing that $6.8 billion of FX forwards for everything from capital dividend remittances from A and commercial letters of credit. But it still has balances outstanding it hasn't cleared, right? Now, the issue about the commitments on crude oil forwards that NNPC has with international oil traders and how that has affected how much in terms of government-owned enterprise revenues that NNPC remits as dividends to shareholders, for which Ministry of Finance Incorporated warehouses the shares of the federal government of Nigeria, is another question we have to ask. So in my opinion, I've always said this, like the president needs to order for a forensic audit of NNPC as per all his outstanding commitments and why it remits the kind of dividend it remits currently, how it managed direct sale, direct purchase in the previous administration before the current president took over office. He needs to know the true position of things at the NNPC. You need to get the NNPC back to the market for an IPO to raise money to do capital projects so it can increase how much of revenue it pays in terms of dividends to its major shareholder, which is the federal government of Nigeria through the MOFI. You know, so I in my opinion, because I was listening to the conversation and someone had earlier said that, oh, we need to go beyond non-oil exports. And I'll tell you the truth. Before 2015, Nigeria was getting $30 billion to the CBN every month. And then they came with the direct sale, direct purchase, and the crude oil swap, and that money vanished. And you see all the encumbrances you had with Ways and Means and the likes of them. Nigeria needs to realize that its competitive advantage and mainstay is oil and gas. And a good way to do that is to see how you can raise output to clear the forwards you have commitments to international oil traders and increase the amount of dividends in FX that NNPC pays to its major shareholder to stabilize the market. Nigeria cannot continue to rely on a strategy of raising money through debt as a means to provide funding for its foreign exchange market. And this is also because going into 2024, considering the fact that the amount of gas feedstock NLNG gets currently, which is below 50%, in 2024, by July 2024, I don't expect that NLNG will pay the federal government of Nigeria as a 49% shareholder up to $1 billion in dividends. I don't also expect that it's going to pay the government up to $700 million in corporate income taxes like it paid in 2023. So if you have force majeure because the associated gas is not delivered promptly to NLNG for processing into everything from C1 methane that is processed into liquefied natural gas, propane and butane for exports and to service the local markets, how do you intend to raise the gas revenues that the government gets in dollars to be able to stabilize the foreign exchange markets in Nigeria? These are the questions that we have to ask.
Yeah, but what I want to ask is, what is your issue about going beyond oil? Yes, and you find out that certain countries too have actually gone beyond just relying on oil as the mainstay. So how do you think that going forward, we can actually diversify this economy? Or are you saying we should just still stay on oil as, stay with oil as the mainstay? Then secondly, the president talked about working with subnationals to beat inflation. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I'm not saying that we should stay with oil and neglect other sectors of the economy. I think we need to focus on our major comparative advantage to ramp up revenues quickly, both to stabilize the foreign exchange market and to also reduce the amount of debts that the government uses to fund its budget. But secondly, when it comes to non-oil exports, for you to do non-oil exports, you need to look at your supply chain. I'll give you a typical example. Niger State has the highest output for shea nuts in Nigeria, and Nigeria has 39% of all the shea nuts in the world. Shea nuts can be processed into shea butter, premium grade shea butter, and shea oil. 1 kilogram of shea butter and shea oil gives you $13 US. 1 metric ton gives you $13,000 US. Yes? If you do 500,000 metric tons of shea butter, shea nut processing in Nigeria, for example, you're looking at revenues in the hundreds of millions of dollars for shea and for oil. You're looking at anywhere around $2.2 to $2.3 billion in terms of revenue when you debit your tax and your direct cost and indirect cost to income.
Calvin, we have to
the
leave it there.
You should ask.
The
question you should ask is, why are the subnationals in Nigeria not able to focus on the comparative advantage they have in terms of agricultural produce, in terms of processing that produce into valuable secondary and tertiary derivatives to bring in more export dollars into Nigeria? That's the question you should ask the governors. That's the question.
All right, Calvin, we have to leave it there. Our time is fast spent. Thank you. Well, thank you for your intervention. Calvin Emmanuel, the CEO of Diary Hills Limited, on the 2024 budget. Today?
Yeah. Tremendous, made good points. We were saying yesterday that a state like Sokoto, for example, should be able to focus on onions, because it's the biggest producer of onions in our country. So states should focus on their areas of strength and see how they can make more money instead of just going to
generate jobs.
I want to thank you, Emeka.
Thank you very much.
Bikio, thank you for your contribution. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubako. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.
Deadly syndicate. An overdue vengeance. A sacrifice of blood. A coveted crown. self-proclaimed king.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Do you struggle with having an active and healthy lifestyle due to your busy schedule? Do you find it difficult to make it to the gym? You want to improve your overall health, but don't know where and how to start? Medical experts agree that walking, running, and jogging are amongst the best ways to stay fit and enjoy a great active and healthy lifestyle. What if there was a convenient and affordable way to improve your health, improve your mood, and lose weight right in your own home? Introducing the SportX Digital Compact Treadmill, the compact foldable treadmill that makes being active and losing weight fast and easy. Just unfold it and walk, jog, or run while you watch your favorite programs on TV. And when you're done, just fold it and store it away. Now that's convenience. The secret is its advanced design that houses a 1-horsepower motor that is twice the size of most treadmills, packed into a nice compact unit, powering every step you take. You get the SportX Digital Compact Treadmill System complete with a rugged commercial-grade ultra-durable traction belt, large LCD multifunctional display that displays speed, time, distance, calories, and has 12 different exercise programs, as well as a magnetic safety key for added security.
The SportX treadmill has really helped me get back in shape after childbirth. I love it because it's compact and can fit anywhere in the house. And when I'm done, I fold and put it away. Easy peasy.
This is the best piece of equipment for people like me who want to stay active without leaving the home. I simply unfold it and use it while I watch my favorite program on TV.
Joining the gym can cost an absolute fortune, and you could be paying up to 600,000 naira in annual gym fees. Get the SportX treadmill to save the cost and work out from the convenience of your home. You could pay 500,000 naira for a treadmill like this, but you can get the SportX treadmill for not 400,000 naira, not even 300,000 naira. Order right now and get this for just 294,500 naira only. But wait! There's more. If you order now, you get the SportX Digital Compact Treadmill delivered to you for free, wherever you are in Nigeria. The SportX Compact Digital Treadmill comes with ShopX 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied with the treadmill, send it back for a full refund. But hurry, limited stock available. So, call the number on your screen now or visit our website to place your order while stock lasts. The proceeding was a paid presentation brought to you by ShopX TV.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Thanks so much for joining us on the program. I am Abosedi Adenio Aderemi. You can join the conversation now on X, formerly Twitter, using the hashtag Beyond100Days and at TVC News NG. President Bola Tinubu has presented the 2024 budget to the National Assembly. The appropriation bill, tagged Renewed Hope Budget, is estimated at 27.5 trillion naira. In his presentation before both chambers, President Tinubu identified top priorities of the budget as national defense and internal security, local job creation, macroeconomic stability, investment environment optimization, human capital development, poverty reduction, and social security. President Tinubu also appealed to the National Assembly to pass the budget before the 1st of January 2024.
In swearing in my cabinet, and reflecting on the unique challenges facing us, I invited the ministers to imagine that we are attempting to draw water from a dry well. Today, I stand before you to present our budget of renewed hope, a budget which will go further than ever before The 2024 appropriation has been themed Budget of Renewed Hope.
After the budget presentation, President Bola Tinubu departed Abuja for the United Arab Emirates to attend the United Nations Climate Action Conference holding in Dubai. The event is scheduled for 1st and 2nd of December 2023. President Tinubu will deliver a national statement highlighting Nigeria's stance on various thematic issues, including renewable energy and climate financing. The president's message will also focus on holding businesses and institutions accountable, reflecting Nigeria's dedication to sustainable and responsible practices. While in Dubai, President Tinubu will actively participate in key sideline events, which will further support the advancement of his commitment to aggressively attract foreign direct investment for enhanced wealth creation and revenue expansion for Nigeria. The Chief Executive Officer, Economic Associates, Dr. Ayo Teriba, joins me on the program. Dr. Teriba, this has been tagged the budget of renewed hope and is the very first this administration, President Bola Tinubu, will be presenting before the National Assembly. What is the high point for you?
Thank you very much for inviting me. Good evening. Right. Finally, the president and his